Have you ever pondered over the process of decision-making in programming? It's all about making choices and taking different actions based on different conditions. Today, we'll be delving into the heart of this process, exploring the if-else statement in JavaScript. In the world of JavaScript, the if-else statement is a fundamental control flow statement. It's the pivot point where code can take different directions. It's like a crossroads, where the path chosen depends on certain conditions. At its core, the if and else statement is pretty straightforward. It evaluates a condition to either true or false, and executes different blocks of code accordingly. Imagine it as a question: is this condition true? If the answer is yes, then JavaScript will execute a certain block of code. If the answer is no, then it will execute a different block of code. Here's how it looks in terms of syntax. In JavaScript, you'd write if, followed by a condition in parentheses. After that, you open a code block with curly braces. This block of code will be executed if the condition is true. But what if the condition is not true? That's where the else part comes in. You'd write else, followed by another code block. This block of code will be executed if the condition is false. So the if-else statement is like a fork in the road with two paths. The condition determines which path to follow. But what if there's more than one condition to consider? This is where else-if comes in. You can add as many else-if blocks as you need after the initial if statement. Each else-if block has its own condition and its own code block. If the first condition is false, JavaScript will check the next condition in the else-if block. If that condition is true, it will execute the corresponding code block. If it's also false, it will move on to the next else-if block, and so on. If none of the conditions in the if or else-if blocks are true, then JavaScript will execute the code block in the final else section. Take this example. Suppose you have a variable named hour, which holds the current hour of the day. You want to display different greetings based on the time of day. You'd write an if statement to check if the hour is less than 12. If it is, you'd output a good morning message. If the hour is not less than 12, you'd use an else if statement to check if it's less than 18. If it is, you'd output a good afternoon message. If neither of these conditions are true, then you'd use an else statement to output a good evening message. So, to summarize, the if-else statement in JavaScript is a powerful tool for controlling the flow of your code. It allows you to execute different blocks of code based on different conditions. It starts with an if statement, can have one or more else-if blocks, and ends with an else block. The conditions are evaluated in order, and the first one that's true determines which block of code gets executed. Remember, the if-else statement is all about making decisions. It's a crucial part of programming, and understanding it will open up new possibilities in your coding journey.